When a millionaire yelled at the cleaner, she revealed something that changed lives forever. Sarah's heart raced as she entered the sleek, glass-fronted skyscraper, a world away from her own cramped apartment. The chilled air felt sharp against her skin, almost like the reality she faced every day. As a single mother and cleaner in the heart of Chicago, her life barely felt her own. 2 kids at home, Kim and Jake, kept her going, their laughter a sweet echo that drove her through long hours. But today was different. Today, she was going to wipe down Mr. Thompson's office, the millionaire with an empire built on privilege. As luck would have it, chaos reigned. The moment she entered, an intern was frantically flipping pages for a contract, the air tense with looming decisions. Right as Sarah poured her steaming cup of coffee, it slipped from her hands, spilling all over the crucial document. The liquid spread like tragedy across the glossy paper, and Mr. Thompson's fury erupted. He roared, a sharp, thunderous sound that rattled through the plush office. "You've just ruined everything." Her chest tightened, her instincts screamed to retreat, to shrink back into the background. But something inside her flickered, a small flame fueled by the countless nights she'd spent working while her kids dreamed of better days. She steeled herself, lifted her chin, and met his furious gaze. "You think I wanted this?" she replied, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. She couldn't let his wealth overshadow the essence of her struggle. "I'm here every day, scrubbing floors while you close deals in your high-rise paradise. You don't know what it's like to miss school events, to sacrifice dreams just to keep food on the table for my kids," she said boldly. Each word, raw and honest, cut through the tension hanging heavily in the air. The silence that followed felt electric. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As he stood there, Mr. Thompson's expression morphed from fury to something softer, almost reflective. The manicured world of his office, filled with glossy accolades, felt stark against the real-life struggle she had so passionately exhibited. Outside, the city hummed with lives entwined in striving, but here, in this moment, time seemed to stop. Meanwhile, back home, Kim and Jake sat wrinkled in their chairs, whispering about the brand-name sneakers the kids at school flaunted. They didn't understand why their mother worked herself to the bone yet still couldn't provide the life their friends enjoyed. The rift between their expectations and reality cut deep, each yearning for a promise of more from both their lives and from her. Just as Sarah's words hung in the air, Mr. Thompson breathed deeply, feeling the weight of her truth. In a moment of clarity, he felt the gears of his purpose shift. What if he could make a change? With a sudden rush of determination, he proposed a notion that would intertwine their lives forever: a community center to support families just like hers, a haven where hope could flourish amid hardship. As their worlds collided in this unexpected way, doubts lingered for Sarah. Would her children understand? Would they finally see the depths of her sacrifices? Would this partnership truly ignite the change they all desperately needed, or would it crumble under the weight of unfulfilled expectations? The stakes felt impossibly high as they stared at the impromptu partnership dangling before them. The buzz of potential filled the room, leaving the future uncertain yet electrified. Would this be the turning point they had all been waiting for? As the adrenaline faded, Sarah suddenly felt the weight of the moment. She could hardly believe Mr. Thompson was standing before her, not as the cold, aloof businessman she imagined, but as a man contemplating the power he held to change lives. His raised chin and steady eyes told her he believed in this idea. "What do you think?" he asked, his voice now soft but still firm. Sarah opened her mouth, the words hovering on her tongue. Should she dare to dream? Could this really be a path to a better life for her children? The group homes they had grown up in, the lack of opportunities, was this a way to turn that around? What kind of center are we talking about? She finally asked, fingertips trembling slightly. A place where kids can learn, play, and get help with school. We could even offer workshops for parents like financial planning and job skills. It could help bridge the gap. His eyes sparkled with possibility. She nodded slowly, heart pounding. A community center was ambitious, but it held the promise of something significant. She envisioned children laughing, mothers finding support, a real shot at improving their lives. Yet, that unsettling notion of what could go wrong crept in. What's the catch? She asked, furrowing her brow. The catch? There isn't one unless, of course, we want it to succeed. This will take work, dedication from both of us. He smiled faintly, revealing a hint of vulnerability behind his confident facade that in that moment, Sarah felt as if they were standing on a precipice, teetering between hope and the fear of falling. I don't know if I'm the right person for this, she confessed, her voice breaking slightly. She looked away, tears threatening to spill. Why not? You see these families. You are one of those families. You have insight I could never gain from my isolated world, he insisted, eyes locked onto hers with a fierce sincerity. And just like that, the framework of something beautiful began to take shape in her mind. Together, maybe, they could build a place where people could connect, share, and uplift one another. In a city that often felt like it left the forgotten behind, perhaps they could carve out a sanctuary for the dreamers and the strugglers. But the implications struck her hard. Did she really have what it took to partner with a millionaire, to stand side by side and fight for change? Could she risk her heart and energy once again, especially if her children didn't support it? No one can do this alone, he continued, observing her hesitations. Together, we can light the spark that might guide others. His words hung like a challenge, a dare that pushed her further into the depths of uncertainty. Could their partnership blossom into the change she wished to see in her community? Back at home, Kim and Jake had begun their own discussions, their innocent voices echoing through the night. Mom's working with an important man now, Jake whispered, a mix of awe and confusion in his tone. Their perspectives swung wildly, teetering on the edge of what they believed they knew about their mother's life. Caught between the essence of her past and the promise of what lay ahead, Sarah found herself at a crossroads. She reached for Mr. Thompson's hand, feeling the gravity of the decision they were about to make together. Maybe just maybe this could work, she said, a spark of determination igniting within her, but as plans began to unfold, looming questions lingered. Would they be able to face the complexities of bringing their vision to life? What unforeseen challenges lay ahead as they endeavored to harmonize their very different lives? With possibilities swirling, the aroma of opportunity and fear melded in the air. Would their bond stand the test of doubts? Or might they face obstacles that could tear them apart? As hope intertwined with trepidation, one thing became clear, their journey had only just begun, and the path ahead was anything but certain. The next morning felt different. Sarah woke up to the sun streaming through her window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. It gave her a soft, golden glow, but the exhilaration from the night before was tempered by uncertainty. She reached over to find her phone, anxiously checking for any messages from Mr. Thompson. Her mind raced with thoughts. What if he changed his mind? What if he saw this as too much trouble? But deep down, a sense of urgency bubbled within her, the kind that demanded action. She wanted to believe in this idea as much as he did. At breakfast, Kim and Jake ate with a tentative energy. Their glances flicked to Sarah, who was lost in her thoughts. Are you okay, Mom? Kim asked, worry etching lines across her young forehead. Yeah, honey, Sarah replied, forcing a smile. I just have a big meeting today. What kind of meeting? Jake interjected, bouncing in his chair. The innocence in his tone made her heart clench. It's about helping kids. They'll have a place to play and learn. Doesn't that sound good? He nodded slowly, his little brow wrinkled in thought. Like a big playground? With swings and stuff? Even better, she said, her heart swelling. More like a place where kids can learn and grow. Can I help? Kim offered, eyes brightening. All hands will be on deck, Sarah reassured her, realizing that they were already invested in this venture, their excitement weaving a thread of togetherness between them. After a moment of heartfelt discussion about the possibilities, Sarah made her way to the community center office. As she entered, the atmosphere buzzed with nervous energy. Mr. Thompson was already there, tapping on his laptop, intent on his work. He looked up when she walked in. "Hey, you made it. How are you feeling?" he asked, his voice warm, soothing her lingering doubts. "Ready to fight for something that matters," she answered, bringing herself to match his confidence. They launched into discussions about funding, programming, and staffing. Sarah laid out her vision with enthusiasm, speaking of the families who would benefit from their efforts. Yet the more they talked, the more she felt the weight of reality creeping in without solid backing. Their dreams were just that, dreams. Just as they delved into numbers, the door swung open, and a woman in a worn-out uniform entered, pushing a cleaning cart. Sarah recognized her from the community, a single mother who worked long shifts to make ends meet. Mr. Thompson stopped mid-sentence, eyes narrowing. "Can't you see we're busy here?" he barked, the irritation clear in his voice. Surprised, Sarah felt an immediate, protective urge for the woman who looked momentarily crushed by his words. "Mr. Thompson, wait," Sarah said, her voice authoritative yet gentle. "She's part of our community. We should be welcoming, not dismissive." The cleaning lady, flustered, began to speak, but the words were caught in her throat. Then, unexpectedly, she squared her shoulders, a courage flowered in her eyes. "I overheard. I'm sorry, but I need to say something," she said, her voice steady. "Kids like mine also need a place to be heard." The weight of her words hung in the air as the tension seeped from the room. Even Mr. Thompson seemed momentarily stunned, softening his hard stance. Sarah's heart raced. This moment was pivotal. Could words from a woman cleaning floors spark a change in their plans? As their eyes met, Sarah realized the connection. The challenges they all faced were intertwined, anchored in shared resilience. Would Mr. Thompson grasp this revelation? Could he embrace the humanity that lay at the core of their project? The clock ticked, the air thick with anticipation. What would this meeting mean for everyone involved? Would they learn the importance of understanding their community? Time stood still, and Sarah felt the weight of everyone's expectations pushing at her heart. The future, once filled with imagination, now rested on their choices. Would they nurture this delicate idea, or let it crumble under pressure? In that charged moment, the stakes felt higher than ever. The stillness of the room hung heavy, punctuated only by the soft hum of the overhead lights. Sarah's heart raced, an electric pulse that quickened with every silent second. She watched Mr. Thompson as he processed what had just been said. The moment felt fragile, like a thin thread ready to snap. "Listen," Mr. Thompson began, his voice shaking slightly, the tension in his brow easing. "I didn't mean to. Maybe you should think before you speak," Sarah interrupted, her words coming out sharper than she intended. She couldn't help it, she was defending someone who didn't have the luxury of a corporate title. The cleaning lady deserved respect, not dismissal. Mr. Thompson straightened, his eyes challenging her own. "I'm not here to debate social issues. I'm here to secure funding." "That's exactly it," she pressed on, hope flaring in her chest. "It's about more than just numbers and budgets. It's about people, real families, like hers." She gestured toward the cleaning lady, who looked relieved but also frightened. The dialogue had shifted, the weight of their meeting transformed from a business discussion to something much more personal. "I just want a place where my kids can play. A safe space," the cleaning lady said, her voice gaining strength. "I work hard, and I just want to give them a chance." Mr. Thompson's shoulders dropped slightly. He was still guarded, but something in the air sparked understanding. "I get it," he murmured, rubbing his temples as if trying to unravel his thoughts. "But can we actually make this happen?" "Of course we can. Sarah realized she was now standing taller. We can get the community involved, reach out to families, involve them in the process. We can turn this dream into something tangible. I'm not saying it's impossible, Mr. Thompson replied, the edge of his voice softening. I just need to make sure we approach this properly. Properly? Sarah challenged gently. We can't fix what's wrong simply by putting money into it. We need to understand what we're truly fighting for. Mr. Thompson sighed, the weight of the conversation settling on him. I see your point, he said at last, and for the first time, he met the cleaning lady's gaze. Let us see what we can do together. As he spoke, Sarah felt a gush of relief wash over her, the tension in the room easing like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. It was an opening, a fledgling hope flickering to life. Thank you, the cleaning lady breathed, gratitude shining in her eyes. That means the world to us. Nods of agreement spread among the small group. It wasn't just a meeting anymore, it was a turning point. Moments later, they began brainstorming ideas. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. They discussed workshops, after-school programs, and community events designed to bring everyone together in creative ways. Inspiration flowed through the room, and everyone's excitement bubbled into chatter. As Sarah looked around, she felt something shift within her. This was about more than just a community center, it was about belonging, about holding a mirror up to the truths of their lives, but the clock still ticked, and the future loomed ahead. Was this enough? Were their dreams too big to fit within the practical boxes of reality? And suddenly, out of nowhere, a chilling thought crossed her mind. What if Mr. Thompson decided he wanted to back out after all? The room settled into a contemplative silence as each one pondered the stakes. Were they ready to risk failure for the sake of community dreams? What lay ahead would not be easy, but one thing was certain, they had crossed a threshold. And in this new reality, Sarah felt their journey had only just begun. The question lingered in the air. Would they find the strength to fight for those dreams, or would they stumble before they even took flight? The chatter in the room grew more animated, bright sparks of ideas igniting with each passing moment. Sarah felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety as she watched everyone engage, their laughter and voices blending into a hopeful symphony. They were moving forward, inching closer to a reality that felt tantalizingly within reach. Okay, let's narrow it down, Mr. Thompson suggested, his demeanor shifting from defensive to collaborative. He looked at the cleaning lady, who seemed quietly empowered now. What do you envision for your children? A playground, maybe something colorful and safe where they can run around, she replied, her eyes lighting up. And what if we had community gatherings? Something that brings us all together. Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with pride for the woman who had once seemed so small in the corporate shadow. That's perfect. A space where families can connect. Parties, movies in the park, maybe even a community garden. I like the garden idea, another participant chimed in, a young teacher with a soft smile. It could teach kids about growing food. And everyone can take part. Mr. Thompson's initial skepticism crumbled a little more. These all sound like viable ideas. We should draft a proposal. With the right numbers and community support, we can make this happen. As they moved from brainstorming to planning, Sarah pored over papers, sketching out tight deadlines and responsibilities. The energy in the room was palpable, like static electricity before a storm. But with every surge of enthusiasm came that nagging worry, the haunting question of whether Mr. Thompson would stay committed when they hit the inevitable roadblocks. Sarah, he called out, cutting through her spiraling thoughts. Are you ready to lead this project? She blinked, surprised. Me? I've never done anything like this before. You've got the passion and the plan. Just look at what's happening here. His voice was steady and inviting, reinforcing her feelings of purpose. Sarah swallowed hard, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. All right. If we're going to do this, we need everyone involved, ideas from all corners of our neighborhood. This isn't just any center, it's a gathering place for everyone. They began assigning tasks, laughter mingling with meaningful conversations as the community members felt empowered. Sarah could see it their aspirations taking shape, the foundation of something incredible solidifying. But then, as the excitement soared, a familiar anxiety crept back in. What if they faced opposition? What if funding fell through? What if people didn't rally behind them? Is everyone okay with this? Sarah found herself asking, glancing around the room. Their faces were a patchwork of hope and uncertainty, mirroring her own. More than okay. The cleaning lady exclaimed, her voice ringing with newfound confidence. This is a chance for us. If we work together, we can make it work. Then let us do this. Sarah declared. Together, we'll create something we can all be proud of. With spirits lifted, they finalized their plans for a community meeting that very weekend. It would be the first big step in uniting everyone, a call to arms for the dream they all shared, one that spiraled beyond imagined limits. As they cleaned up after their session, Sarah felt a surge of determination, but also a paralyzing bite of fear. They were on the threshold of something momentous, but would this be the moment everything changed or the moment everything fell apart? As she gathered her things, Sarah caught Mr. Thompson's eye. His expression was both supportive and inscrutable. What lay ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Was she ready for the challenges that loomed on the horizon? And more importantly, what surprise twists awaited them in their quest for a better future? The week leading up to the community meeting was a whirlwind. Sarah juggled work, planning, and countless phone calls while trying to keep her anxiety at bay. Each moment felt heavy with unspoken fears. She recalled the cleaning lady's fiery spirit, how it ignited something within her, yet she still felt the weight of doubt on her shoulders. What if they poured their energy into this meeting, only to be met with resistance? Friday night came, and the community center buzzed with preparations. Sarah arrived early, decorating tables with colorful streamers and setting up chairs. As she hung a banner proclaiming "Together we rise," she couldn't help but smile. This was it. This was their moment. A crowd began to gather outside the center, families with children, teenagers chatting, and elders catching up. Sarah could feel the air thick with excitement. Yet, her stomach twisted in knots as she watched more faces arrive. Would they be ready for the questions, the challenges? "Hey! You look great." The enthusiasm of the young teacher brightened Sarah's mood. They exchanged smiles before the teacher rushed off to help welcome everyone. As the clock struck 6, Sarah stood at the front, scanning the room. Around 30 people filled the hall, their energy palpable. It was a sea of diverse faces united by a common purpose. Mr. Thompson took his place beside her, giving her a reassuring nod. They were in this together. "Thank you all for coming," Sarah began, her voice shaking a little. "This is our chance to shape our community. We're here to share ideas and envision what we can create together." She paused, taking a breath. "We want this center to be a place for everyone, a playground for the kids, a garden for the families." A wave of applause broke out. The warmth of their support filled her heart. Conversations erupted as people began chiming in, sharing their dreams for the center. Laughter rang through the hall, shining through her nerves, but not everyone was on board. A sharp voice sliced through the dialogue. "What do you know about anything?" A man stood near the back, arms crossed. His scowl sent a ripple through the room. "This is just a bunch of fluff. Who's actually going to pay for it?" Feeling the air thicken, Sarah's stomach dropped. She looked at Mr. Thompson, who gave her a silent nudge. We're working on the funding," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "But we need your input and support to make this happen. Everyone in this room has a voice." The man scoffed but was interrupted by the cleaning lady, who stood up, her presence commanding. "I do know what it means to struggle," she said, her voice steady and passionate. "I've cleaned these neighborhoods, seen the kids play in unsafe parks, and I believe in this vision. We all have to believe if we want to change. The children deserve better." Gasps echoed through the crowd as eyes turned toward her. The man tried to retort, but the momentum shifted. Now, others stood up, one by one, sharing their stories, parents mentioning worries for their children, seniors recalling fond community events, young adults offering support. In unity, we find strength, said the teacher, echoing the sentiment. This isn't just a project, it's bringing back the heart of our community. As voices harmonized, Sarah's heart swelled. It was happening. They were rallying. For a moment, she dreamt of everything they could do together. But then the weight of her doubts rushed back. What if it fell apart again? I know many of us have doubts, Sarah said into the growing enthusiasm. But, together, we can find ways to overcome them. As the crowd cheered, Sarah realized she wasn't just leading a project. She was becoming part of something much bigger than herself. But as the evening wore on, an unexpected question resonated deep within her: what would be the true costs of success, and who would be left behind as they fought for a better future? The room buzzed with energy, yet a shadow loomed. Sarah still had to confront the challenges that lay ahead, the question of support and faith that might shape their journey. Did they truly have the power to change their reality, or were they just chasing a dream? As Sarah looked around at the faces in the crowd, she sensed a shift. The air was electric with purpose. Yet, deep down, anxiety nibbled away at her determination. Would this unity last? The enthusiastic voices around her thrummed, a melody of hope she longed to believe in. Just then, the man who had challenged her before, still scowling, raised his hand again. I still don't see how you can talk about change without real plans. This isn't about dreams. It's about reality. His harsh tone cut through the excited chatter. A ripple of tension rushed through the room. Sarah felt her heart pound louder than the murmurs surrounding her. She glanced at the cleaning lady, who had been quiet after her inspiring speech. There was a fire behind her eyes, a flicker of determination. Sir, she said, her voice unwavering, that reality begins with us. It doesn't take a millionaire to make a difference. It takes a community willing to fight for what's right. Every little action counts. A wave of murmurs danced among the crowd, a rising crescendo of support. Sarah's breath hitched. Could this truly be happening? Mr. Thompson stepped forward. What we're planning here isn't just about finances. It's about nurturing a community where we support each other. Let us think about how we can rally our resources and talents together: cooking classes, fundraisers, volunteer days. It starts with each of us. His voice rolled over the crowd like a wave, and they responded, inspired. Voices rose, each suggestion building upon the last. A bake sale was proposed, then a car wash, a talent show. These ideas flowed like a river, linking together all the dreams they had. Let us hear more from each person. Sarah shouted, her heart full. Excitement crackled in the air as neighbors took turns sharing their thoughts and stories. The man in the back stayed silent, arms still crossed, but even he couldn't dampen the spirit lighting up the room. After the cacophony of ideas settled, the cleaning lady raised her hand once more. I know it feels overwhelming to think about solid plans. But what we really need is commitment. When people believe, they unify. Sarah nodded, her own resolve strengthening. The night felt like magic unfolding, like a backlit stage where they all played their parts. This wasn't just a crowd anymore, it was a collective heartbeat. The laughter, the smiles, the shared tales stitched them closer. But amidst the warmth, doubt still festered in the corners of her mind. What if they didn't have the skills, resources, or determination to turn their dreams into reality? The thoughts swirled. What if they ended up feeling defeated again? Before she could spiral, the energy shifted. A community member, an older gentleman with kind eyes, stepped up. His voice trembled with emotion. In my life, I have seen united efforts change towns. We can be that spark. Let us be role models for the younger generation. Let us show them hard work is still energy well spent. As applause erupted again, Sarah caught the cleaning lady's eye once more. There was strength in their connection, a symbol of bridging gaps, breaking barriers. Would she be willing to take this fight on, despite her fears? But the shadows of uncertainty lingered in the back of Sarah's mind. Even when they had each other, could they withstand the challenges that lay outside these walls? As the energy swirled and the ideas flowed, she still wondered, who among them would falter in their pursuit, and what sacrifices would come with the fight for their dreams. Before the meeting wrapped, that looming question whispered in her heart: what happens when the dream collides with reality? What sacrifices were they truly willing to make for change? The air buzzed with excitement as the meeting drew to a close. Yet, for Sarah, the weight of unspoken fears loomed large in the corners of her mind. She couldn't shake the question that echoed in her heart: could a group like this really make a difference? As people began to disperse, the older gentleman with kind eyes approached her. "You did a wonderful job tonight, Sarah. There is something special in the air, isn't there?" His voice was warm, but Sarah could see the remnants of doubt lurking behind his smile. "Thank you," she replied softly. "I just hope it all means something, you know. What if it isn't enough?" She let the question hang between them, heavy with implications. "Every journey starts with a single step," he encouraged, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "No one ever knows how far that step will take them." Despite his optimism, Sarah struggled to find solace in those words. She noticed the cleaning lady gathering her belongings, quietly observing the throng of animated chatter around her. Something deep inside told Sarah that this woman held a well of wisdom, perhaps answers that might help quell her fears. "Excuse me," Sarah called, weaving through the crowd. "Could we talk for a moment?" The cleaning lady looked up, her face a blend of surprise and delight, before making her way over. "Of course, dear," she replied, her voice gentle yet firm. "What's on your mind?" I worry about whether we can really make a difference." "Do you ever feel that way?" The cleaning lady sighed, a look of understanding crossing her features. "Every day, sweetie. But you know what? Change isn't about grand gestures. It's the tiny acts that accumulate into something beautiful. We start small, just like a seed sprouting in the dirt." Sarah listened intently, captivated by the metaphor. "But what if we do everything right, and it still goes wrong? What if we end up just as we were?" The cleaning lady's eyes sparkled, as if she had just seen a flicker of light in the dark. "But what if it goes right? What if you inspire someone who goes on to inspire others? That's the magic of community. One person can ignite a fire, and the flames can spread far and wide. Will you help?" Sarah asked, her heart racing. "Your voice seemed to touch everyone tonight. We need that strength." "Absolutely," the cleaning lady nodded, a smile breaking across her face. "It's about the heart we put into our work, not our bank accounts. Together, we can light up this town." As they spoke, Sarah felt a charge run through her. There was a spark in the air, a hint of hope that dared to bloom amidst the uncertainty. They rejoined the crowd, now buzzing with animated discussions. Sarah glanced at the back of the room, where the man who had once challenged her stood, still crossing his arms. But tonight, he looked different, too thoughtful, perhaps even curious. "Let's start our first meeting next week," Sarah announced, her voice carrying above the murmur. "Let's set a date to start making our ideas a reality." The excitement in the room swelled, and as people cheered and clapped, Sarah's heart soared. Maybe they were on the verge of something incredible after all, but as the clamor filled the hall, doubt still coiled around her heart. Would everyone still show up when the reality of hard work and sacrifice set in? Would enthusiasm be enough to withstand the trials to come? And in the back of her mind, the echo of her earlier question whispered again, what awaited them on the other side of hope? What storms would they need to weather in their pursuit of change? The following week arrived, and excitement hung thick in the air. As Sarah set up the room for their first official meeting, her heart raced at the thought of all the possibilities. Tables were arranged in a circle, a tactile representation of the unity she hoped to inspire. She added colorful posters on the walls that called for change, for hope, for action. As people began to trickle in, Sarah noticed both familiar and new faces. The older gentleman with kind eyes took a spot near the front, smiling encouragingly as if he'd come to offer moral support. The cleaning lady was there, too, looking the same as the week before, but somehow more radiant, as if she carried the spirit of that spark they had felt together. "Can you believe we're actually doing this?" Sarah asked the cleaning lady as they stood near the entrance, greeting members as they arrived. "It's a beautiful thing," she replied, her eyes shimmering. "Just you wait and see what unfolds." But moments later, an unexpected noise pierced the optimism. A loud, forceful voice broke through the buzz of conversation. "You need to clean this place up right. It's an absolute disgrace." The crowd faltered, turning toward the source. It was a man in a sharp suit, his face twisted with irritation, pointing at the cleaning staff. His contempt was palpable. Sarah felt her heart drop. Who did he think he was? "Sir, we're all doing our best," the cleaning lady said, her voice calm despite the tension rising in the room. "We're working hard to keep this facility running smoothly." "Hardly. This wouldn't be an issue if you took your job seriously," the man barked, dismissing her concerns with a wave of his hand. More murmurs spread through the room. Even during such a hopeful moment, a cloud of discomfort loomed. But Sarah felt something shift. She couldn't just let this pass. "Excuse me." Sarah called out, stepping forward. "This isn't how we support each other. Everyone here is part of this community, including our cleaning staff. They deserve respect." The crowd began to buzz with agreement, and Sarah felt the collective energy rise. The man turned to her, eyes narrowing. "You don't understand. I'm only pointing out the truth." But before Sarah could respond, the cleaning lady interjected with a strength that caught everyone off guard. "Truth can be spoken without shouting. And respect can be shown without disdain. I work for this community, not just for a paycheck. I care about the people here." The room hushed, as her words settled into the hearts of those present. Sarah noticed the shift. Hope and defiance coursed through her veins. "You may think that you have power because of your money, but it means nothing if you can't speak kindly to others." The cleaning lady's words rang out, firm and unwavering. A gentle applause started building, rippling through the crowd. People began to stand and clap, their support and strength reverberating in the room, drowning out the negativity the man had brought. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes as the cleaning lady smiled, a gentle victory woven in every wrinkle of her face. As the suited man left, the atmosphere changed. The room began to buzz with excitement, but it was different now. There was a boldness, a declaration of togetherness. "Thank you," Sarah said, stepping back toward the cleaning lady. "You showed us all the power of standing up for each other." And with that, someone piped up. "Let us get started on our plan. We have work to do." The energy shifted from fear and doubt to determination and resolve. But as the meeting progressed, questions began to arise. What bold actions would they take next? How would they transform this energy into real change? What challenges awaited them on this path that now felt so much more tangible? The weeks rolled by, and momentum surged like wildfire through the community. Sarah felt the heartbeat of change echo in each interaction, every time plans were discussed and laughter filled the air. The community center was becoming a reality, a symbol of hope, a sanctuary where people could breathe a little easier and dream a little bigger. Every day after her shifts, Sarah joined the dedicated team working tirelessly to bring their idea to life. There were brainstorming sessions infused with excitement, volunteer days where families came together to clear lots, and even neighborhood barbecues to raise funds. Mr. Thompson's involvement transformed from mere financial backing to genuine partnership, his initial corporate coldness melting away as he learned from the community he sought to uplift. One afternoon, while standing in what would soon be the center's backyard, Sarah heard the laughter of children echoing from nearby. A group of youngsters were playing tag, their carefree spirits reminding her of her own children, Kim and Jake, who had started to attend planning meetings, fully embracing this project their mother was spearheading. They were enveloped in the ideas of a vibrant community, a playground, fun workshops, even unique opportunities where parents could learn skills to better their lives. Before long, the date for their grand opening approached. The excitement in the air felt electric, yet uncertainty wrapped itself around Sarah's heart. It loomed like a shadow over the bright colors of hope and fellowship. What if no one showed up? What if the magic was just that, a fleeting illusion? On the day of the opening, Sarah arrived early, her heart thrumming with a mixture of joy and anxiety. She had set up tables with art supplies, amongst a myriad of colorful balloons that danced lightly in the wind. Everything felt vibrant, and yet she felt a tightness in her chest. As people began to arrive, Sarah's fears faded into the background. Families poured in, smiling at each other and sharing stories. Community members mixed, celebrating not just the building of a structure but the building of connections that radiated warmth across the room. Children squealed as they raced for the playground. Sarah caught a glimpse of Kim and Jake laughing, jumping into this new adventure together. The program kicked off with a heartfelt welcome from Sarah and Mr. Thompson. She spoke about their shared journey, the challenges, and how together they overcame the doubt that had once threatened this project. Faces in the crowd lit up with every word. And as Sarah glanced around, her gaze fell upon the cleaning lady, who stood beaming, a testament to the power of one voice rising amidst a chorus of love. The festivities continued, with laughter filling the air as activities unfolded. There were garden workshops where parents learned to plant and grow food, art stations for creativity, and even dance performances showcasing the local talent. Sarah felt like she was living in a dream, surrounded by community and family. Towards the end of the event, Mr. Thompson stepped forward, pushing through the crowd. He raised his hands to call for quiet. "I have something special to announce," he said, his voice clear and steady. The crowd hushed, anticipating what he might reveal. "I'm excited to commit funding for an ongoing mentorship program that will provide resources and support for families looking to grow, learn, and thrive," he declared, his eyes scanning the audience as joyful gasps erupted. "Together, we can shape a better tomorrow." Applause thundered through the air, igniting a ripple of excitement. Sarah felt emotionally overwhelmed, tears of joy brimmed her eyes. Could this change truly last? As the celebration drew to a close, Sarah found herself standing outside the community center, breathless from the outpour of love and support. The sky, painted with hues of orange and pink, mirrored the warmth in her heart. "Mom!" Kim and Jake rushed over, each grabbing one of her hands. "Did you see? We're going to have a garden," Kim exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "And there's gonna be a place to learn all sorts of stuff," Jake added, bouncing in place. "Yeah, we're just getting started," she responded, her voice full of conviction. In that moment, Sarah felt her aspirations not only being fulfilled but expanding. She turned to see the cleaning lady nearby, who caught her eye and nodded, a silent pact of strength binding them together. Yes, they had fought through hard times. Yes, there had been disbelief and challenges. But here they all stood, a community transformed. This was a moment for a future redefined, where dreams could leap beyond the horizon, and as Sarah held on to her children, an overwhelming sense of gratitude filled her heart. Every sacrifice, every late night spent worrying, had led her to this moment of undeniable connection. This was just the beginning. But one thought lingered: how deeply they could embrace change, not just for themselves, but for those yet to come. With hope, courage, and community, a future awaited. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Hit that button and join this journey. Make sure to leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because your support really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. I want to know how this story impacted you, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Real change starts with each of us. Show your support and let us uplift each other.